All right, we are live. We are live. So let's give it a minute or two for people to join us. Mayor Bill Edwards.
Yes.
Okay, yes, we are right where we need to be. Let's see. So I'm going to share this a few places and then we'll get started. So thank you for your patience.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you for joining me today here in Safer Communities. It has actually been a while since I've done a Facebook Live with an elected official, but I thought it was a really good time for us to come together and have a conversation, Mayor Bill Edwards, about a few things. So, first, I want to thank you for taking out the time from your busy day to join me. I feel honored to have you join me on this live stream. And I think that it's an honor to have you here again to share to share the what the journey has been like as the first mayor of the city of South Fulton. And then we're also going to get into some of the I would say some of the not so positive things that people are saying. I mean, let me just, cut to the chase. There are a lot of people that are saying a lot of things. And, everyone has the freedom of speech, right? But what we're going to do today is give you the opportunity to clear the air. There's always two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. And I feel that this is a great opportunity for us to hear from you directly, personally. And I'm actually, before we get started, Mayor, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you let me read the charter on what the duties of the mayor of the city of South Fulton, what the actual duties of the mayor? Because the first thing that I want to address and clear up is there are a lot of people who don't understand the city government. So they're very confused on what you do every single day, and what the role of the mayor. There are people running for this position right now, and they do not know. It's very obvious listening to some of the Zooms that they don't know what the mayor's duties are according to the charter. So, can I start there and then turn it over to you, ask you a few questions, and then go into some other things that I feel is very important for us to address? Is that okay with you?
That's very appropriate.
Okay. Powers and duties of the mayor. This is coming straight from the charter. And I'm just going to read it verbatim. The mayor shall be the chief executive officer of the city government and a member of and the presiding officer of the city council and responsible for the efficient and orderly administration of the city's affairs. The mayor shall be responsible for the enforcement of laws, rules, regulations, ordinances, and franchises in the city. The mayor may conduct inquiries and investigations into the conduct of the city's affairs and shall have such powers and duties as specified in this charter or as may be provided by ordinance consistent with this charter. The mayor shall preside at all meetings of the city council and participate therein as a voting member. And in the mayor's absence, the mayor pro tem shall preside as set forth in be the head of the city for the purpose and service and of the process and for ceremonial purposes and be the official spokesperson for the city and the chief advocate of policy. Have power to administer oaths and executive affidavits, sign as a matter of course on behalf of the city all written and approved contracts, ordinances, resolutions, and other instruments executed by the city, which by law are required to be in writing. The city council may delegate contract signing authority to the city manager to extent allowed by law. The mayor shall see that all laws and ordinances of the city are faithfully executed, vote on any motion, resolution, ordinance, or other question before the council other than a veto override, obtain short-term loans in the name of the city when authorized by the city council, and have the authority to appoint city council committees and appoint city council members to oversee and report on the functions of the various departments of the city, subject to confirmation by the city council. Require the city manager to meet with him or her at a time and place designated for consultation and advice upon the affairs of the city. The mayor nominates the city manager, city attorney, chief judge of municipal court, city clerk, and city treasurer, subject to ratification by the city council. Provided, however, that if the mayor's nomination is rejected by the city council or the mayor fails to offer a nomination, nominations may be offered by members of the city council. The mayor shall prepare or have prepared an agenda for each meeting of the city council meetings, which shall include all business submitted by the mayor, any council member, the city manager, and the city attorney. The mayor shall fulfill and perform such other duties as imposed by this charter and duly adopted ordinances. So just to be clear, the city council sets the policy for the city of South Fulton. The city manager runs the city's day-to-day operations, not the mayor, though. The mayor cannot do anything without the consent of the city council and or the city manager. Do I have that right, Mayor?
You're right. And I just think to clear one other thing up
Okay.
in terms of voting,
Mm-hmm.
the mayor can only vote in a tie.
Okay.
And that's in 4 years. I can only think about 2 times that has happened, but I can only vote in a tie.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. I may have an older version of the charter. So I do apologize, but thanks for clearing that up because I'm sure that will come up at some point in time. But let's jump right into this. I'm going to let you open it up before I start asking questions. So why don't you let us know some of the things that you want to, let's start with your accomplishments thus far as the mayor.
Definitely, we have come a long ways in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine, I want people to think back for a minute. In 2017, I became mayor of this city. I got up that morning and I realized that I had no place to go. Mm-hmm. I had no phone. I had no office. I had really nothing. I had 7 council people to start off with. Mm-hmm. And so it came immediate to me that we must first, as a city, establish the foundation from which we need to work. Mm-hmm. And that has been my job for me for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Someone asked me the question, is it easier being mayor than it is to be county commissioner? I can tell you right off, mayor is a tough job. It's a stressful job. It is a job that without some experience in a new city, you would be at much of a handicap to come in something new and try to build it that way. So let me just tell you, when I first came out, I had 2 things. One was to start this foundation that we must have extraordinary public service. Mm-hmm. And the other thing was that we must have great schools. Now, the question always comes up, well, Mayor, why are you talking about the schools? It's nothing that you can do. That's another form of government. We pay 53 cents out of our dollar to the school system. Mm. If you have, and I want people to understand this, if you have a great public safety system and you have a great school system, it helps to bring economic development and everything else into play. Why is that? Nobody wants to to live in a place where they don't feel safe, and nobody wants to live in a place where their children can't be educated. And so those two are the two milestones that I thought to help build this structure, to help build this foundation that we must adhere to. And I think we've done an absolute phenomenal job in doing that. Let me say that people must know at the end of this 4 years, we are financially sound. Our revenues are above projection. Our expenses are below projection. It's a basic rule that in municipal government that there's something called a fund balance. And in that fund balance, they recommend that you have at least 2 months of operating expense in that fund balance. That's just a rule across the country. Why is it important to have that money? Because we, like any other municipality, we have what is called a bond rating. And your bond rating is like your credit bureau. If your bond rating is good, then you're able to borrow money when you need to borrow. If it's not good, you're going to borrow the money, but you're going to borrow at a higher interest rate. And all of us know about those types of things. So that bond rating, if you dip into your fund balance, it lowers your bond rating. I am proud right now to tell you that the practice over the country is 2 months operating expense. As we sit here today, ladies and gentlemen, this city has 4 months in fund balance. So we're being good stewards of our money, and we're protecting our fund balance so that we can protect our bond issuance. That's very, 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 very important. We also have $50 million on hand in the general fund, but people say, well, you got all this money. No, that $50 million is allocated to projects that we're doing today. Classic example of a project, Butner Road. What's happening on Butner Road with the repaving and things of that nature. Things that's happening in our facilities. These monies are already been set aside so that we can finish those projects as we go into the year. When it comes to public safety, which is one of my pillars, we have come a long way. And by the way, let me make it clear. We have only had one police chief. Everybody else has been interim. Chief Meadows is the one police chief that we've had with that designation in 4 years. And I'm very, very proud of him. He's done an outstanding job. Our crime is down 36%. We asked that we approve 35 more police officers for this year, and we're trying to get them. Why is that? Is that we hired Georgia State to do a beat study for our city. At that time, we had 8 beats. Of a city 95 miles wide, that was insufficient, and it caused us to have poor response times. Georgia State said that we need 18 beats. Right now, through our hiring process, we've gone from 8 beats to 10 beats. When we get the other 35, we'll probably get over 14 beats. Why is that important? Because if we do what the study says, we can improve our response times to issues that's happening in our city. That's what we want to do. The other thing I like to say is last year we purchased 40 police cars. This year we purchased 40 more police cars. Why is that significant? Because studies show I want to have every police officer within 20 miles of the city limits take the car home. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, number one is if you're living in a subdivision in our city and there's a police car parked there all the time, that's a good thing. The other thing is studies show that when police officers take cars home, that they take care of those cars real good. And to give you an example of what happens today is I'm a police officer. I run my beat. Daphne, you're a police officer. You're taking on the next beat. Well, I am switching a car with you. That car then is running continuously, possibly 24 hours a day. that leads us to maintenance charges and things of that nature. So we really need. The other thing I said to people was, I want to have a police precinct in every district. Now, let me qualify that statement. That didn't mean that I would have somebody in that police precinct right now, 24 hours, because without the manpower, I just can't do that. But you're there in the community. You can go into police, talk to your police. You can have all kinds of things done, get a police report, whatever you want to do. And that has worked out well. I have accomplished that in all but one district. And that district, we have just bought the facility, and that's District 3. And we're going to be putting a precinct over in District 3. So, and on the other hand, let's talk about schools. You know, I'm the kind of mayor that I visit all the schools. That's, you know, I'm at the football games, I'm at the basketball games. You know, I'm dropped by the school. Every principal knows me. And I keep stressing to them, you are the key to our success. We need to make sure that our schools is holding up to the vision we have for our city. And so that's what we've been doing. And so 4 years, we've laid the foundation. Now, Daphne, it's time to build the house.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you touched on public safety, because this group was formed back in 2016 because of the slider crimes that were plaguing us at the gas stations. And that's when before the city became a city, I was actually working with the county police and the county staff to address and figure out what was happening. This group was formed prior to the city of South Fulton becoming a city. And that's when my eyes, you know, I would say it was eye-opening, because transitioning from a county where you rely on the county and the county resources and you become your own city. I think a lot of people have thought that was an easy fight, and it hasn't been easy. But one thing I can tell you that I'm very proud of, and I have seen and witnessed this with my own two eyes, is that the city of South Fulton has worked very hard to decrease crime. The police officers are offering community policing. And as you stated, it is important to have a police precinct in every district. I actually use the police precincts a lot to help women get their fingerprints done for gun permits. And I've had one of the police precincts help coordinate background checks for our football team, for the youth football team. Very, very instrumental, because we want to make sure that the people that are around our youth, we want to know those backgrounds, and they were instrumental. They have a lot of different, and there was no wait. This is during COVID. Very, I would say, professional, having access to all of the fingerprinting tools and or the background checks is very convenient for us to not have to travel all over. There was once upon a time, before becoming the city of South Fulton, I actually had to go to Hateville to get fingerprints done, because no one in this area had those machines. So you all have made those investments, and it may sound, you know, very minute to some of you, but that is an investment that the city has made to make sure that if whatever you need at these precincts, you're able to get the services that you need at the time that you show up. So I want to commend you for having a precinct in every district. I use them quite often, and the police have done a phenomenal, amazing job of decreasing the crime that was once plaguing us out here.
Well, one factor too I need to mention to you, Daphne, is homicide rates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we never said we're going to get rid of crime. There've been crime since Cain and Abel, but how we manage our crime. Our homicide rate is 98%, unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
We've had only 2 homicides that we have yet to catch people. All right. So you commit homicides over here, we go after you, put you in jail. But that is very, very good for a city outside. The other thing I want to tell you is this. Just think about this for a minute. A brand new city. What was the first thing happened? A tornado.
Mm-hmm.
We had a tornado. We had a F1 tornado, came in and destroyed us. And then we had another tornado.
Mhm.
And then came COVID. I mean, just think about brand new city.
Mhm.
And we've had to deal. So what we had to do in terms of the COVID from the beginning was that we had to take money that we had budgeted from other places, and we had to use that money to bring in PPE and stuff. You remember, I was the first mayor to shut down the city because of COVID, because I believe that the protection of our families and our people were very, 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 very important. After all of that, we talk about our relationship with the county.
Mhm.
I want to have the best relationship with the counties I had. I was a county commissioner. I understand. I want to have the best relationship with the county I can. However, when we started this whole issue of COVID, we expensed all our money. There was something that came down called the CARES Act. I know many people talked about it.
Mhm.
What the CARES Act was, the federal government sent us money to help us with our COVID experience, okay?
Mhm.
But the way they sent it down, they sent it directly to the county. And the unfortunate thing is there was nothing in the agreement that said that the county had to give us a dime. So the county gave us a pittance of money. And I can tell you, all 14 mayors got together, North and South, and said that this was not right. And they really upped it from a little bit from where it was. But let me tell you something now. And I thank Nikema Williams and all the other people in federal government for acting very swiftly. In the relief we got now, that money comes directly to the city. If you're more than $500,000, that's what they was doing before. Now we are what we call we're one of the cities that get our direct funding. We don't have to go through the county anymore, because at 100,000 people, they call us an entitlement city, which means that we get our money directly. So we're getting something around for this program, something around $11 million, of which I think we have to this date. We have about $5 or $6 million. They break it up in halves. And we're using that money, but let me make it clear to everybody. Whatever money comes down from the federal government, this mayor will make sure that is used for the purpose that is designated by the federal government.
Okay.
I'm not going to play with it or when it's close, give it to them. No. If it's that, we're going to do it. We're not going to get in trouble like a lot of other cities where they thought that they could give it to somebody and they could do. We're not doing that. We're being very, very careful on how we spend that money. And so we appreciate that we get our money directly now and that we don't have to deal with it. And I thank all the federal legislators who stood in there and fought for us. We really, really want to appreciate them.
And speaking on Congresswoman Nikema Williams, how important is it for the mayor, since a lot of people like to refer to the mayor of the city of South Fulton as a powerless mayor, pretty much because the way the charter has been written, most of the decisions with ordinances and just, everything that you pretty much see, like even with the speeding cameras, that came from the city council. Right. Okay, so let's set that aside, because hopefully we have helped a few people understand that that comes from city council members. And if they have a problem with those speeding cameras, they need to go to them to have those questions asked and or answered. But how important is it, Mayor Bill Edwards, to have a relationship, not only on the county level? You've kind of addressed that, but what about on the federal level? As I see some of your opponents, I couldn't imagine them having a discussion, an intelligent, articulate discussion on a federal level, and having a relationship with our federal government to the point where there would be a meeting of the minds. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I have a relationship with Osloff, Warnock, David, Takima. I have these people's personal phone numbers. And I just did a chat with the mayor with Takima Williams. And one of the things she stressed is the fact that I am a person that calls them about everything. And we stay in contact all of the time. So relationships, I keep saying this, relationships is the most important thing to have in leadership. Forget about the Republican, Democrat, black, white, purple, green. You want to have a relationship that will help you to move your people forward. Classic example. For 3 years, we tried to get Fulton Industrial Boulevard. We hired consultants. We hired everybody, lawyers, to turn the tide for us. Mm-hmm. Last year, I asked the council, let me have it. We're not going to pay the money. Just let me have it. And I can tell you that they did that. As a result of that, we won Fulton Industrial Boulevard with only one dissenting vote out of both the State House and the State Senate. All those people who voted against us the last time, whether it was for whatever reasons, they voted with us this time. And I want to thank, and when we did that, we had 2 of our senators out. Donzella James, she was out with COVID. And the other senator, Tate, she was out. We had one senator, and that was a rookie senator by the name of Senator Halpern. Mm-hmm. And I got to give her credit, and of course Donzella too. But because Donzella was doing everything she could do from the hospital bed. But I got to tell you, Miss Halpern, she stood in there. She did the right things. And so when we met, here's what I put on the table, Ms. Jordan. I said, I'll get the conversation started. We would take everything from I-20 South on Fulton Industrial, and y'all, the county and the city can have whatever's left I-20 North. I never thought, I was starting the conversation, but I never thought that would catch legs. And it did. And it's the same thing I laid on the table. It's the same thing that passed. And thanks to God, we have Fulton Industrial Boulevard, which is a part of our city that we definitely needed.
And can you just share why that's so important? Why was it important to bring Fulton Industrial Boulevard? You didn't bring all of it because there's a portion that still resides and remains with the city of Atlanta, but the portion that you did were able to negotiate to bring into the city of South Fulton. Why was that so important?
Well, obviously, the important thing was the property tax. All right. The other thing important is that though we're going to be getting a conversation tonight, I know, about warehouses. All right.
Absolutely.
But let me say this to you. Warehouses is a part of the economic development structure. Okay. Mm-hmm. The issue is where you put them. All right. So it was important for us to get Fulton Industrial Boulevard because Fulton Industrial Boulevard is designated for that purpose. So if you want to come to my city and put a warehouse, I'm going to tell you need to go find some land on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, come back and talk to me. All right. Let me clear something else up that I've heard. Mm-hmm. Fulton Industrial Boulevard, at the time we bought it in, had about a $9 million tax base. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I hear people out there say, well, what y'all do with that money? Well, I'm going to tell you like one of my from my mayor say, fact check. We lost $3 million when we brought in Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Where did we lose it? Because Fulton Industrial Boulevard, Fulton County paid us a $3 million subsidy to run fire protection on that corridor. Well, once we got it, we didn't do that anymore. And so the law says that if a county or city owns that land on January 1st of the previous year, they do not relinquish that tax base until January 1 of the following year. But we still gave service to the Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and we anticipate anywhere from $10, $11 million come January 1st of property income that's coming to our city. I really want to make that clear. So if you want to do warehousing in the city of South Fulton, we invite you to go to Fulton Industrial, or we invite you to go to Oakley Industrial Boulevard. We have approved 5 warehouses in this city since we've been in the city, but you don't know it. You know why? Because it's where it needs to be.
Exactly. And you're absolutely right. I hope you were able to clear that up for, I would say, some of the, confused, because it is confusing. I will say, you can be in East Point, you can drive, make a left, and you're in the city of South Fulton, and you can make a right on South Fulton Parkway, and you're in Union City. Oftentimes, these borders are jagged, and it has appeared to some that the warehouses have been brought on South Fulton Parkway by the city of South Fulton. But to set the record straight, those lines were drawn prior to the city of South Fulton becoming a city. Union City is responsible for those warehouses that are bordering in the city of South Fulton on South Fulton Parkway and along, some of the areas. And I think it's a disservice to keep saying something that's just not true. I mean, I have seen it in many places, but I thank God that I have the information and have known for quite some time that those warehouses, and there was a group of citizens that were really advocating, Mayor, at Union City, and have actually went to these board meetings or these council meetings, and the mayor completely ignores the constituents that are coming to him saying, please stop bringing warehouses. They're impacting us in the city of South Fulton. Now, I can't understand why the life of me, how he ran unopposed this time around, because clearly, if people are that upset about the warehouses and you have friends that live in Union City, they should have run for mayor. Mm-hmm. But it is not on the city of South Fulton to tell the mayor of another city to stop bringing warehouses into his city. Yes, it impacts the quality of life in the city of South Fulton, but your hands are tied. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people right now that are hell-bent on being negative, saying things because it seems like the right thing to do at this appointed time because we're at an election. But there are a lot of people that are not only just concerned citizens, but a lot of us are informed concerned citizens, and we know the truth. And I will say it again, if you are upset, bothered about the warehouses in Union City that are spilling over into the city of South Fulton, please attend a Union City Council meeting and let your voices be heard. The mayor has made it clear tonight that warehouses that have been brought to the city of South Fulton are along Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and as well as Oakley Industrial Boulevard. They are in industrial areas in the city of South Fulton. And I think that's very key for you all to understand. And thank you for pointing that out. 5 warehouses, you said 5.
Yes. Let me take a minute, Daphne, to say something about this, because I was the first vice president of the Parkway Alliance. And during that time, the county and the Parkway, they made this statement that there would be no warehouses past Mason Road. Now, that was very important, but here's what I hear. That Bill Edwards zoned all those things while he was a commissioner. If I had zoned them, why didn't I build them? You have to, when you bring something into your city, if the zoning is not appropriate, it has to stay at that zoning for a year. That property remained dormant for that time. All right. Then Union City came in with a zoning called a TCMU, Town Center Mixed Use. And in that Town Center Mixed Use, it allowed for warehouses to be put there. Now, here's a question you ask yourself. If it's a town center mixed use, where's the town center? Now, so it hurt me to my heart to see what was happening on the corridor and to be accused of zoning it that way and to be accused of bringing it. Well, what I did, I put out the infamous video that showed people that this is not our doing. This is not the council's doing. It's not the mayor. Now, the mayor of Union City got very offended by the fact that I would put that video out. But I said nothing but the truth. There was nothing in that video that you could dispel.
Right.
So the vision for the parkway that was laid out years ago is about destroying. The trees are down. I mean, they're just cutting everything. And I cannot tell a person, a mayor, what to do within his jurisdiction. All right. However, there is no walls up that will keep them from infringing upon my citizens in terms of environmental issues, in terms of traffic issues, and other things that permeate beyond the border of a neighboring city. I can say this to you all because right now, as I'm working through this process, I am tied down to confidentiality because there might be some legal things that we have to do. But I can tell you all that we're continuing to fight this. We brought in a third-person mediator. We'll continue to fight this. I don't like it. I never have liked it. And I'll fight to the day that I'm not in this office to curb the invasion of that type of development in our city.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And, unfortunately, there's a few, I would say, people that are trying to make a big fuss about it. And to the majority of us, we are aware that they are unfortunately ill-advised as to what's going on with the warehouses. And I feel that tonight you have effectively cleared that up. Let's move on to some other topics. I mean, you've done a great job as the mayor of the city of South Fulton, but to some you haven't. So we're going to deal with some tough topics here tonight, Mayor. Okay. The first one is the accusation that you've had an intimate affair with a council person.
Listen, that was the first accusation, and that one hurt. And because I tried to have as much camaraderie as I can with council people, but I'm not going to stand by with foolishness.
Correct.
And the person in question is a good friend, is a good council person. And I thought that to say that defamed both she and I. But let's say that it was true. Listen, we both single. But let me tell you this. It is not true. It is not true. I've never had an affair with any female on that council. If you want to call an affair, giving advice and trying to help them along, then I guess that would be an affair. But I've never. Now the female in question, she was taken back. Right? And she should have been because she has a family. And you don't go out saying those malicious things like that with having no proof. But I can tell you from my mouth to God's ears, it is not true.
And, I'm bringing this up, you guys, because I think it's simple. I mean, we have him here, first of all. He doesn't mind answering any question that I'm probably going to bring up tonight. And since people took the time to type it and put it on Facebook and put it out on Nextdoor and put it in all these different places to try to defame this man's character, tear him down, tear down the other person, we're going to clear the air. And we are going to get to some policy and we are going to get to some other things. But right now, we're going to deal with these matters that people have felt were so important so that we can address them, put them aside, and deal with what I think most concerned citizens are concerned about is how will you continue to move the city forward upon reelection, and or why you are the best candidate, which we're going to get to that. But I know some of you are confused because you haven't seen it. Listen, hey, there's a lot of things circulating and going around on the internet, but it doesn't mean that is true. You can type, you can say, you can do whatever. However, he has the right to defend himself, and we needed to address that tonight. So thank you for addressing that. And then, there's another buzz that I've seen that's been out recently, and that is that you're spending the city of South Fulton's money as if it's your own checkbook.
Definitely one thing I've learned, I've been in this business for 20 years. And if you want to stay in this business and have some semblance of integrity, you do not mess with money. That's why you have a finance department. I do not write checks. I do not have access to any of the monies that taxpayers have. Okay. So if it was like my own checkbook, I'd probably get a lot of things, but I haven't gotten anything. I do this job for $37,000 a year. And I'm fine with that because I knew that's what it was when I came in here. But I'm a person I'm about service. I'm not about the money. The other thing you have to understand is if people would just go to our website, there's a thing you can click called OpenGov. OpenGov will show you every dime of every check of every penny that we have spent on anything. They talk about transparency. How more transparent can you be than that? So if you can go to OpenGov and see a check with my name on it, please call me because something is truly, truly wrong. I do not even advise people on how to spend money. That's the manager and the council's job, not mine. And so I'm very careful when it comes to money. And tell you something, two other things I'm very careful about. I'm very careful about procurement. Many of elected officials have gone down because of procurement with contracts and things of that nature. I don't get involved, definitely don't get involved with procurement. The other thing I don't get involved with, I want people to hear this very well. I do not get involved with personnel. Procurement and personnel, money, you don't do those things. I mean, they'll get you in trouble. So people always say that, well, you fired this person. I don't have the right. I can't fire anybody. I can't hire anybody. Nope. All right. So I'm hearing that going around. They're putting it on me.
Yeah.
And let me say this to you. I'm not putting any blame. We have some good people on this city council. All right. I want to make that clear. So they have the right to do what they want to do. And I say this. I will challenge anybody to pick out any of the 7 council people that we have and ask them, has the mayor ever told you how to vote? Has the mayor ever bartered with you on a vote? And they will simply tell you. I mean, I don't care which one you pick. They will tell you no.
And again, I think it's important to go back to the original statement that I made on how the city of South Fulton's government is structured. It is not structured the way the city of Atlanta is, where the mayor in the city of Atlanta makes a lot of decisions. And it would appear that would be the same in the city of South Fulton. So I just want to reiterate, the city council sets the policy. The city manager runs the city's day-to-day operations, not the mayor. The mayor cannot do anything without the consent of the city council and or the city manager. And as he just mentioned, if there's a firing or a hiring of personnel, that doesn't even come across the mayor's desk. Those are day-to-day operations. So what we have to start doing is understanding how your government works. You will sleep better at night if you understood how your government works. Because if you have a problem, I can assure you, if you go to the right people, the people that can actually do something about the problem that you have, perhaps it may get addressed. But, the blame game and the, throwing stones, that's the part that I think has gotten people in a very frustrated position right now, where I feel it's a very opportune time, Mayor, for us to set the record straight. So thank you for addressing that.
Well, I can tell you that, Daphne, that there's only two cities that I know of where the mayor has that power.
Mm-hmm.
One being Fairburn, and the other being Atlanta.
Mm.
But all of the other 14, 13, 12, 14 cities around, we are what was called a weak mayor form of government. And ladies and gentlemen, I never went to the legislature to try to get them to change my role to a strong mayor. I'm comfortable where I am. I'm comfortable with the weak mayor form of government. The only thing little power I do have is the power of a veto. Mm-hmm. And I have, in 4 years, I have vetoed 5 times. And to override a veto, you have to have 5 votes. Mm-hmm. I've only been overridden on a veto 1 time in my whole. And you all remember my first veto was the veto the name of Renaissance.
Yes.
That's the name of our city. So let's just set the record straight. I am a weak mayor. I'm comfortable in that. Mm-hmm. I do have veto powers. I've only used them 5 times in 4 years. And, we work together and make it happen.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about the day-to-day the council meetings. Do you create these ordinances and policies? Tell us, just kind of help those who don't understand. What is the role of the mayor for the council meetings? And are you actually controlling any of the council members during these meetings?
That's been an interesting piece of information that people put out there. Let me just show you what I do. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the agenda, we meet on Tuesdays. I meet with the clerk, the city manager, and myself, the 3 of us. And we go over every item on that agenda. Do I have to do that? Nope, I don't. But I think it's the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. It gives me feedback. So what happens is, what are we looking for? Well, let me just give you a classic example. There's something called a FISC. All right. What a FISC is that you're putting something on the agenda, but it's going to cost the taxpayers money. All right. So we got to know how much it's going to cost us to do what you got on the agenda. All right. If it's not there, now this is not Bill Edwards' rule. Mm-hmm. This is a rule that's been set down by the council. All right. If you don't have a FISC, it requires one. Bill Edwards is not putting it on the agenda. Mm-hmm. That's just policy. And I got to make you also understand there's a difference between policy and an ordinance.
It is.
A policy is a real feel-good thing. Say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We agreed that we're going to do this and yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But a policy is not law. The other thing in an ordinance, that is the law of this city. Okay. Have I ever put in policies? Yes, I have. I've done a lot with my colleagues. We have done things together, co-authored stuff, but I don't vote. I can put it on the table, but I can't vote. I can sit up there, put it on the table and say, hey, this is what I feel. This is how it's going to be done. This is what it's going to cost us. I would love to have you all's majority vote on this. That's how it goes. So to say that I've heard I was a bully, that I run things. No, I don't. I just go by the rules that were set forth by this council in terms of preparing an agenda.
Mm-hmm. And you set the agenda, and then you have to officiate the meeting. Absolutely. I mean, Oftentimes that has been, I would say, challenging, considering the strong personalities. What would you say another quality outside of being a relationship builder as a mayor? You also have to be an effective negotiator.
Right. You have to be a negotiator, not only with your council.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a negotiator with other areas of government, like your sister municipalities, even your federal folk, and especially with Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to be a negotiator with your city manager, because she gets in a place sometime where, it's very, very hard. And I believe in this. I don't like to make decisions on my own. I believe in bringing the stakeholders to the table. Let's negotiate and let's move forward. I believe that when you're talking to Bill Edwards in his office, the first thing he's going to do is listen to you. All right. And once you finish, he's going to reiterate to you what he thought he heard while you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get past that, then we start talking about solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that that's the best way as a negotiator and as a leader of people to get things done.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I have attended some of these council meetings, and they can be quite interesting, a handful, and challenging. And even though it's stated that the mayor is a weak mayor, you actually have to be a very strong mayor to manage and work through some of the city council meetings, to bring order, to bring everyone back to the table, so that decisions can be made, and you can move on to the next line item. I have witnessed that firsthand. Let's
Well, let me
let's
say
talk
this
about,
to you. Let me
oh
say
yeah,
this.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And when we started this city, we had some instances that shouldn't have happened. All right. And I would take the blame for this. I was the only person with any experience on the council. And I was trying to let people learn. It cost me long hours. It cost me long meetings and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, I began to rein things in. I mean, Daphne, we had a meeting one night with 68 actual items on it.
Mm.
We were finished with that meeting in an hour and a half. It can be done. My job is to control the conversation as much as I can,
Mm-hmm.
and it's to move the agendas along, because I believe that the people come to our meetings, citizens, they want to hear everything, but they don't want to be there all night.
Correct.
Okay. So what we do is understand that everything that we have on our agenda, all of that paperwork is sent to the council before the meeting. And I say a lot, it was in the documentation. Why are you bringing why are you bringing it up? It's in the documentation. Sometimes people want to ask for a better word. Sometimes people want to showboat. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people want to show how smart they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. But you have to realize in my deal that I have to try to keep control of that meeting as much as I can, because it's not to the detriment, it's to the detriment of the citizens who want to hear as we drag things out. The other thing I want to tell you too is that some people, there was a insinuation that I kept secrets. I want to answer that. I don't keep secrets because I don't have any secrets to keep. Everything to us is done through our council and through legislation that we have passed. However, if there is a prominent person or a prominent developer who wants to build something of value in our city, then if you know economic development, you don't give their names. You give the project a code. In other words, it can be called Code Alpha. And the reason why we do that, because most big time developers, hotels, they don't want their name out there too soon. All right. So, but we do give the information and we code the name, not just to keep secrets, but for the confidentiality that was placed upon us by the person who's doing the project.
Because that is standard
Standard.
in governmental processes in the industry. Until they have all their I's dotted, T's crossed, they go through zoning, they go through all of the meetings and get
Right.
their approvals. They want to, have that confidentiality. And that makes sense, actually,
Right.
now that you describe it as such. However, like you said, you have some people who don't understand government. These same people are on the council, unfortunately, and trying to run for mayor. It is very important, you guys, that the time we're spending here with the mayor tonight, that you understand three key things before we go into a few other areas. You have to have a mayor that is experienced, who's respected, has a foundation of leadership, is an effective negotiator, and has experience. Now is not the time. As I'm sitting here listening to you, Mayor Edwards, now is not the time to change, to have a changing of the guards. With all that's been accomplished and what needs to continue to be accomplished, and what probably still needs to continue to move the city forward, it would be a detriment to put anyone else in this position that doesn't have those qualities. And some of the people I've never actually heard of before. But neither here nor there. That's my I would say recap of what's been discussed, how you've been able to solidify some of these outrageous accusations, rumors, whatever you want to call them. I think it's important to address them and just not act as if they're not there. They're there. You've addressed them. You've touched on them. You've even described what it's like as a mayor as you're fulfilling the role to set the agenda, to run those meetings efficiently with the constituents' time in mind. I think that's very admirable of you. And there's one last thing I want to address, and then we're going to talk about your biggest successes, which I think we've already done that. And then we'll close it out with, why should you be reelected as the mayor for the city of South Fulton for the second term? I first want to bring up one more thing that's been put out there in the atmosphere, and that is the default on the tax liens. Now, I want you all to know, I'm not going to show you all this, but I do want you all to know what I have in my hands is a statement from the IRS. Before I read it, though, I want you, Mayor Edwards, to address this. And then I'm going to read what I have in my hand so we can clear it up.
Well, there's not many people in America who have not had scrapes with the tax issues. But I had when I released my business, I had an issue with the IRS, a big issue. But I got through it. And when I got through, because I thought the IRS was the biggest one I had to deal with. I had to deal with that first. We're talking several $100,000. Okay. And then when I finished that, then I had to drop back to the state, which was much smaller, and to issue after dealing with them with that amount of money, $250,000, I had to deal with the state, which was much, much less. And we're doing that. We have offering compromise, and that's going to go away. But I'll let you read what the IRS said.
So what the IRS has said as of August 15th, 2019, that the payment had been received. You have met the payment provisions for your offer in compromise contract. Please remember that we will apply any overpayments from that year. We accepted your offer in compromise to the tax period specified in your offer contract. Therefore, we are processing your lien release, and it should be effective within 30 days. This is from August 15th of 2019. If you are on Nextdoor, whether you're on Facebook, I don't know if it's made it to Instagram, but I want you all to run and tell this. The lien has been released. Okay? Run and tell it. It's in my hands right here. I have it. I've just read from it. I can't rehearse those words in my mind. And yeah, you're right. It's finished. End of story. Find something else to talk about, but let's make it factual. Because you couldn't even qualify for this term, Mayor, if you had some lingering financial issues. And so that would have been the time to really address it, not now. But like I said earlier, I think a lot of people like to hear themselves talk. They like to put these things out here and, try to bring someone down. They like to plant seeds of doubt. And all it does and all that has happened, you guys, it has caused those of us who are educated, informed, and aware to corral together to seek and find the truth and to bring that to you today. It is beyond me, some of the things I have read. And this broadcast will be shared on Nextdoor. I'm certain that some people will still not want to believe what's been said. But as the mayor has said, he no longer has that as an issue. All of us have. We have. Everyone has had an issue at some point in time. And if you haven't, let me let you know what the auditor has told me in the past. At one point in time in your life, you will be audited by the IRS. If it hasn't happened to you, it just hasn't happened to you yet. And so I want to thank you for allowing me to ask that question, allowing us to go a little deeper. I am known as the queen of open records requests because when I want to find something out about a city and what's happening, I don't go directly to that person. I go to the city government and file an open records request, and I get information that I need in my hands so that I can have the factual information and proof that I desire to have, not from what someone told me, not from what someone said. I get the information right from the city and or that government entity. And that is one of the biggest recommendations that I have for constituents. You can leverage the government that you have today to get information that you like to have. If you really want to get down to the facts and to the bottom of what you're thinking can be occurring instead of just putting out these rumors. So that was the last one that I think I wanted to make sure that we addressed. Because character assassination is very serious. You have to be very careful when you try to assassinate someone else's character, people. And you don't have the proof, facts, and information to support it. So, Mayor.
So, Ms. Jordan, let me just say one thing.
Oh, yes. Go right ahead.
We as elected officials are here to serve the constituency, right? Mm-hmm. But ladies and gentlemen, believe this. We have families. We have children. Mm-hmm. We have grandchildren who are proud of us. Mm-hmm. And when you put this malicious stuff out, that affects your whole entire family. It is not good. I've been running for offices. I've been in politics for 20 years. I have never in my whole time seen the viciousness, the outright lies, and things that go on this year. Mm-hmm. But I tell you this, that until tonight, Bill Edwards has not said anything about anybody. Mm-hmm. And God knows I could, all right? But I said nothing to anybody because I'm not going to sit here and qualify a lie.
Oh.
I'm not going to do it.
That just made me want to clutch the pearls I don't have on. You're not going to qualify a lie. Now that's a quote.
And in the words of Michelle Obama, you go low and we will continue to go high. And that's what this race is about. It ain't about the foolishness. If you're better than I am, say you're better than I am, and why you better than I am.
Mm.
That's how you run a race. But to sit here and to defame my character, defame my family, you know, that is not a good tactic, and it's not something when you talk about integrity. You lose that.
I would have to absolutely agree. You can't qualify a lie. That's a t-shirt. Okay, before I get off on that soapbox, let's talk about why should people reelect you for mayor?
And definitely before we go there, because I talked about public safety.
You
And
did.
I don't want people to think about public safety. It's all about the police. All right.
Okay. Yes.
We have a wonderful fire department. We've had only 2 chiefs in our department. Well, we had 3 when we first came over, but one retired. One went to another job that really had nothing to do with fire. And then we got in through a nationwide search. We found Mr. Chad Jones. Now, Chad Jones is white, but we searched the nation to find the best that we could. And I think we've been successful in bringing Chad Jones. So let me tell you what was happening in that fire department. When I came in as mayor, we had fire equipment that was 25 years old in terms of fire trucks and things of that nature. We had purchased a fire truck for $500,000. Somebody hit the fire truck and totaled it out.
Oh, Jesus.
We got a check for $500,000. This is what I said. Let's take that money and let's go and lease the equipment. For that $500,000, we got 2 tankers and a ladder truck. I can announce to you today, we got 2 more tanker trucks coming in. When they come in, there will be no piece of apparatus in our fire departments that's older than 2015. And we continuing right now. We have never had a fire safety facility. We just put money, earnest money, on a piece of land where we're going to house our fire training. And I got to thank our fire chief for being instrumental in that. And so I just want, the firemen are very important to us. They're your first responders. If somebody gets hurt in your house or gets sick in your house, we're going to be there before the ambulance gets there. And so I didn't want to go back, leave that issue without saying something positive about the men and women that we have in fire.
And you know what? Keith Hillsman, he did just, I have to help touch on this real quick, Mayor, because he's asking, what does race have to do with it? And so the first thing I would say, Keith, is unfortunately, there is someone on city council right now on the city council that brags about the city of South Fulton being the blackest city in the nation. So it's important to him. It's not important to the mayor, but for the record, I think the mayor is trying to let everyone know that the city is diverse. There is nothing wrong with having diversity in a city.
Right.
I mean, for crying out loud, if you don't have diversity, you know, that to me is a challenge. But the mayor's just really trying to clarify that for the, you know, for those that may be on that particular bandwagon. And I think it is important to have a very diverse city for growth. And especially when you're talking about economic development, you definitely need a diverse and inclusive city to be a diverse and inclusive city. Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. So I wanted to touch on that. And thank you for mentioning the fire department, Chief. I'm sorry, the fire department and how that has evolved over time. Those are your tax dollars, people that he's talking about, and how it's being spent. And that's what you all should be very concerned about. And so thank you for bringing back public safety. You know, that's near and dear to my heart. Thank you for clarifying that as well.
Thank you.
There was one other thing. Did you mention the city's rating, financial rating? Did we talk about that earlier?
we're looking for, we don't have the rating yet, the bond rating you're talking about, but we're going upward, and I think that our bond rating is going to be great. Let me just tell you this: we borrowed the second year we were here.
Mm-hmm.
We borrowed because what happens is that you use up all your tax money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to borrow for the next year, okay, for 12 months, and then when your tax money come in, you pay it off, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We borrowed $14 million at an interest rate of about 2%.
Mm-hmm.
We were just starting, all right. Where we are now in terms of financially and what we're doing with our finance, our interest rate and borrow money will probably be below 2%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very, very important because yes, cities do borrow money. You know, we build buildings and stuff like that, but we do borrow money. So we just have to make sure that we have, and that was called a tax anticipation note, which
Okay.
means that you got to you use your money, you got to go into the next year. This is the anticipated money you need. They will give you a loan for 12 months, and you can pay it off at any time.
Okay. Thanks for
You pay
sharing.
the loan off in less than 12 months.
In less than 12 months.
Right.
And that's what we definitely don't hear about that.
No.
And I wanted to address that along with you clarifying some of the other finance questions that have come up. Wolf Creek is a hot item. I'm just going to ask if you want to share any information. It's not something that I believe this is something that the city council is working on. Do you think it will be open next year? What are the plans, if you can share, for Wolf Creek Amphitheater?
Well, we're getting very close to, actually, I'm going to tell you like Rob Pitts. Rob Pitts said he thought it was all over. but there is a landfill there.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to carry insurance on our side of the landfill. Well, we thought we had the right policy, but we did not. It was concluded that we didn't. So we are in the process of getting the right policy, and it's been kind of a, everybody's talking about it, but everybody's not hearing everybody. So I asked the attorney to get all the stakeholders in, which he did last week.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever is needed, let's do it. I'm happy to report that he did that. And we're on the way to getting the proper insurance that we need for that landfill. Also, we are buying two plots of land along the landfill. All right. Mm-hmm. We're ready to close that out. I think that we'll be ready and able to go within next year. We want to bring the kind of stuff we had last year. We want to bring it at a good cost because it's all about the citizens and their tax dollars. I can remember when I first raised the issue as a commissioner that I wanted to have an amphitheater. One of the commissioners turned to me and said, "Well, amphitheaters don't make no money." And I simply replied back to him, "Neither does the library." Because you understand that we get your tax dollars and we serve you to what you want. Now, government is not in the profit business. We love to make profit, but we're really not in the profit business. We're in the business of taking your tax dollars and trying to give you what you want. But we want to give you, if we break even on something like an amphitheater, we have won the game. Mm-hmm. All right. So I want people to understand that, yes, I led the fight for the amphitheater when I was commissioner. And I would be a sorry person if I didn't want to get everything in line to make sure that we have a pleasant experience in your Wolf Creek Amphitheater. And I have to thank people like, Emma Darnell and Nancy Boxhill, those who stood by me. Mm-hmm. In terms of bringing that kind of entertainment to what was then called South Fulton. Mm-hmm.
Well, Mayor, we're coming close to an hour and 15 minutes. I want to again thank you for this time. I think you have cleared up, clarified, and addressed a lot of different topics. For those of you that are just joining us, I want to thank you for tuning in. And we have come now to a time where I have listened to some of the candidates, and I want to just, here's my soapbox. And I just haven't heard anyone tell us if they were to be elected as the mayor of the city of South Fulton, what they would be able to do day one. It sounds as if you were not continuing to be the mayor of the city of South Fulton, the city would be in complete and utter turmoil. Can you let us know, Mayor, why you should be reelected as the mayor of the city of South Fulton? What are your plans to help move the city forward with a city council that is in control of the city, as you're pretty much in the shadows of, I would say the bulk of those decisions? Tell the people why it's important for them to make the right choice and decision to reelect you as the mayor of the city of South Fulton.
I want to finish what I've started. It ain't over yet. And we have a lot of things that we need to do. I bring the experience to the table. I bring the relationships. That's important. I bring the relationships to the table to get the job done. I'm about the service. I'm not about the money. I'm about the service. And to take this job, I have to be I tell people I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. And to do right in this job, you have to have a servant mentality. And so I have that. And on top of that, Ms. Jordan, we have done. As I sit here tonight, you will get your empathy. As I sit here tonight, we have road projects right now. If you haven't been down Butler Road, go try it. We have road projects right now. When we finish our road resurfacing projects, we would have resurfaced over 1/3 of the roads in our city. And we're going to continue to come back and do that. We have projects under Parks and Recreation and police facilities that have been neglected.
Mm-hmm.
But we have $14 million that we're spending in parks and stuff like that, of which right now we only have $5.7 million of that's let forward to go ahead and start the project. And people got to understand that when we do a project, there's a process. There's a process of getting bids and, procuring the property and vetting it out, then bring it toward the city council and getting it bid on. I mean, it's a long process.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand. And so we're moving forward right now. We're putting new roofs on our facilities. We're going to clean these parks up with these baseball and football fields as we have them. We're going to re-energize our fire department. We're gonna put we're putting generators in the fire department right now. All right. And so when you look at as fast as we're moving, in 4 years, I think we've made tremendous progress in areas in which we need to make progress in. But let me just tell you, we're not finished. We have a project coming that we're a developer that brings a town center on the Chattahoochee River. To build the land has been bought and paid for. We're dealing with the developer. So what did we do? We went to Woodstock and went to Vickery. Myself, Carmelita Gums, Ms. Rao, and a host of citizens to say this is what we can do if we want to. They did it. We can do it too. I want to build a city hall because we're busting at the seams with employees. We're looking at a portion of Wolf Creek, and we have the design ready. We're going to be showing you all how it's going to look. But the Wolf Creek's going to change. With City Hall there, we're looking at putting hotels there. We're even looking at putting a museum there. And so Wolf Creek is going to change considerably. It's going to be walking past. And just yesterday, I had a long conversation with the new owners of the Wolf Creek Golf Course. And I said to them, you have to be a part of this fabric, because just imagine with everything that we're doing over here at Wolf Creek that's going to be happening, with the library where it is, and then the golf course across the street. Great project. We're working on that now. Roosevelt Highway, Red Oak. Red Oak has been one of the most historic cities that we have. I mean, Red Oak has actually got its own post office. We don't have that. But it's been a mess. So I started what is called the Historic Red Oak District Project. And I brought in Georgia Power, Marta and everybody to help me with the demographics and stuff like that. We have all of that. Brought in the district person, Helen Willis. Of course, now when Helen got there, she expanded it. That's okay. That's okay. But with that project. Now, we also have what is called an Old National and over in Roosevelt Highway. We have a downtown development district, okay? And in that downtown development district, both of us, we have two what we call Main Street managers. We're about to unleash our projection of what Roosevelt Highway is going to be looking like and what Old National is going to be looking like as a campaign. All right. Come February of this year, through my relationships with DOT, we're going to resurface Roosevelt Highway, which is barely in need of resurfacing, okay? Along with the project that we have that they are part of to bring some consistency into our city. Now, let me close by saying this, and I want you to hear this from my mouth. If we don't build another house in this city, I'm okay with that. Because we have to turn our attention to commercial development. Because right now, we're running this city off the backs of residential homeowners. And you don't want to do that. So you got to bring in some commercial to offset the taxes that the residential people are paying. That's my goal. And I told Mr. Pike, who is the director of that, I said, listen, man, talk to me about some white tablecloth restaurants, talk to me about some hotels, talk to me about things like that. Because as I begin to build this house, those are the brick and mortar that I'm going to be looking for to make it stand. So I'm excited about where we come from. I'm excited about where we are financially sound. Financially, we are sound. When it comes to public safety, we're sound. We're pushing our infrastructure now more than what we've ever done. We're resurfacing streets inside of subdivisions. We're doing streets. We got a roundabout going on the end of London. We just finished the roundabout on Camilton Road. We just finished the infamous bridge on Cascade Road. All right. And those that we do, we have other things we do. Yeah, I got $18 million worth of bridges I got to do. That's how bad the bridge is. But I took Nikema bus trip, and we went around every bridge I had. And I'm depending on Nikema and others because she's on the transportation committee. That's another thing. You got to know what committees that your people are sitting on.
Absolutely.
She's on the transportation committee. So I said, Nikema, you and David, y'all got to get me some money down here so that I can really fix these bridges that we have. So those are the things in the future that I'm looking to build this house. And when we build this house, Jordan, Joy, we're going to be solid. We're going to be happy. We're going to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I ask. So to do that house, you got to have another 4 years of Bill Edwards. So I bring these things to the table that I've always brought. And I can tell you right now, we have some good council people. I don't want y'all to think. We have some good hard-working council people. And I'm willing to work with anybody who is willing to work with me. I'm not for the nonsense.
Mm-mm.
It's too much. You know, Emma Donnell used to say a long time ago, she said, you know, there's too much blood on the floor.
Mm-mm.
And it is. It's too much blood on the floor for us to be messing around here with these trivial allegations, talking about each other.
Mm.
You know, and I like what is it called? Neighborhood watch.
Next door.
I like Next Door, but let me tell you something. Next Door, I remember when it was founded. Next Door was founded to help communities communicate with each other, to share ideas, all right, and to cooperate. Now Next Door is turned into what's one of the guys' name? He had all the stuff on TV, Jerry Springer. We got to stop it. We got to stop it.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. So I'm your man. I'm here to work for you. In 20 years, I have never missed a council meeting, a commission meeting, and I've never missed a meeting of this council. In 20 years, I've attended every meeting because that's the kind of dedication that I'm going to have. Was there something that I wanted not to attend? It was, but I attended it because, and I'm going to tell you something else. You sent us down there to vote. But I have never in 20 years abstained on a vote. Ladies and gentlemen, you can only abstain when you or your family has an interest in a project. So no one sent you there to abstain. They sent you there for yes or no. Vote your heart. We have a lot of people just abstain. Why do you abstain? I just don't like it. Well, that's not why you abstain. The law says you got to have a public interest in something. So I just want to say that I'm going to do the job for you. I'm going to do the job, but I'm not going to do it by myself. I'm going to involve you in everything we do because you are South Fulton, not Bill Edwards.
Well, again, Mayor, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this. We've done this before, but you were actually running for your initial term. And so I thought it would be a great idea to come back to the forefront as we're nearing, we're in the middle of early voting. And I thought it was time for us to just, have a moment with the mayor and allow us to have this very candid and open conversation about some very, I would say, difficult topics that most people would shy away from these topics and wouldn't even want to address them. So I want to thank you again for coming on to share tonight. I will, as I mentioned earlier, be sharing this on Nextdoor and in different spaces so that we can make sure that people hear from you in such a way that you probably haven't been able to address certain things on the forums. And again, you shouldn't address things on Nextdoor. But I thought it would be well received for people to have an opportunity to have you not only address those, but to speak to the policies and, what have you been doing as the mayor of the city of South Fulton? What will you continue to do? And I feel that you have given a wealth of information. You all have actually accomplished a lot during the pandemic. Yeah. And one thing that I want to mention that hasn't been mentioned on here is for 3 straight years, it was reported back in April of 2020, there was significant crime reduction overall in the city of South Fulton. There's not many cities that has those bragging rights. And I can honestly say that you have done an excellent job working with your police chief to accomplish that. And Chief Meadows is a absolutely phenomenal chief. I think he's done a great job. And I want to end it with
And Mr.
three key things. Oh, you want to say something else? Okay.
I want to acknowledge Chief Meadows.
Mhm.
He'll be leaving next week to go to Beverly Hills, California, where he'll be honored by Ebony as one of the top and most influential police chiefs in this country.
Wow.
So that's what we have. And, it makes a difference that when the president gets elected and he's sworn in, all the cities in America, what city took the plate and did the national anthem? The young city of South Fulton. And that's how people respect it. As I leave tonight, let me just say, I want to acknowledge that this is Breast Cancer Month. And the fight against breast cancer is an ongoing fight, but it's a fight that is needed. We have several of our employees who are survivors of breast cancer. And this city of South Fulton want to acknowledge the fight and want to continue to raise money and awareness for breast cancer as we go in the future.
Thank you again, Mayor Bill Edwards, for joining me tonight. And again, I hope this has been a very informative session with you. And hopefully we can come back once you're reelected again and have a conversation around where you are with continuing to take the city forward and working with the council as it will be. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Be safe.